Alright everybody, this is Jeff with Living in Arizona, and today we are going to be comparing Texas and Arizona. This came about when I did my video on Phoenix being what I consider to be the number one best standard of living that you can get for bang for your buck in all of America. And when I was doing that review in there, it was discovered that there were some places in Texas that really give Phoenix a run for its money. When I was reviewing it, some of you guys were saying, whoa, what's up with San Antonio? What's up with Austin? These places look pretty amazing. You know, California and Florida aren't even on the radar for this. It was really between Texas and Arizona. And I'd already done other videos where I've compared California and Arizona, Utah and Arizona, Colorado and Arizona. So this one's going to be Texas versus Arizona. If you want to view any of those other comparison videos, you can come onto the channel and view that. And if you're new here, you can subscribe to this channel. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So where's this coming from, right? Well, the fastest growing states in America since 2010 have really been southwestern states. You could see since 2010, Texas grew by a whopping 3.5 million people. That's a lot. Arizona grew by 779,000. Nowhere near as much growth as Texas. Granted, Texas is a very big state, right? Florida grew by 2.4 million. And even California, although it's already got a large population, so the percentage is lower, but 2.3 million. So Arizona's up there with one of the fastest growing states, but it's still not the fastest growing. In fact, I think they said it's number 8, just in case you're wondering. So if we're just talking about Texas, because we talk about Arizona a lot on here, so some of you will hear some of the same stuff over and over, but there is a population of about 28 million people, 28.7 million people that live in Texas compared to Arizona, where you only have, I think, 7.1 million. So Texas is a lot bigger in population. It's also a larger GDP. So it produces a lot more, so if we just take a look at Texas a little bit more, the big cities in Texas are going to be Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington. Then you've got some other ones like Lubbock. You have El Paso down on the border. You have Galveston right there south of Houston. Then you have Brownsville. You also have Corpus Christi along the Gulf of Mexico. So a lot of big places out there to live. Kerrville and many different suburbs. Phoenix has Tucson, Flagstaff, Prescott, Yuma, and then many suburbs. You have Gilbert, Mesa, whatnot. So I mean, we're just talking about major places that you would be considering living. So let's go ahead and dial in the cost of living and compare some of these places, right? So the first one we're going to compare is going to be Phoenix versus San Antonio, because that was the most requested line item here. So is Phoenix more expensive or is San Antonio more expensive? And what we discovered on this ratio was that for groceries, so this is how it is. 100 is the average, right? So 100 means cheaper than the U.S. average. Above 100 means more expensive. So overall, homeowner, no child care, taxes not considered. Phoenix is more expensive than the national average. San Antonio not more expensive than the national average. Ooh, some of you are going to be like, wow, okay, San Antonio, what's up? Food and groceries, 95.5. So food and groceries are a little bit cheaper in San Antonio. Housing, as a homeowner, it's cheaper in San Antonio. The average median home cost in San Antonio is $165,000. In Phoenix, $229,000. Utilities, again, San Antonio is cheaper. Transportation, San Antonio is cheaper. So overall, San Antonio, Texas is more affordable than Phoenix, Arizona. So if you're subscribed to Phoenix, Arizona, and you're looking for, the cheaper alternative, there's San Antonio right there, and it's up and coming for sure. And it's been up and coming, but it's 14.7% cheaper than Phoenix. Some of you are going to find that to be valuable information, and that's why we do these comparisons for those of you who want to know. And if I was to just go in here and just look at some of the homes, I just picked Gilbert. Gilbert's a suburb of Phoenix. You could call it Phoenix. But if you were to look at some of the homes in Gilbert, here's what you get. This is on Zillow. $334,000, 4-bedroom, 3 baths, 2,200 square feet. 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,500 square feet, $337,000. This is a nice area. You can see nice homes, right? We could go out to the other parts of the valley and find more affordable places. You've even got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Gilbert, $177,000. Well, let's go to San Antonio and see what the housing market looks like out there, right? Look at this nice house. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,113 square feet, $176,000. That same house right there in Phoenix area is a $270,000 house. So this is $100,000 cheaper than a house in Phoenix. And that's pretty good. I mean, look at this. 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, $134,000 to buy a house in San Antonio. Some of you might say, well, Jeff, did you ever consider moving to San Antonio or Texas or any part of Texas? And the answer is yes, I had thought about it, but I didn't take it too serious because number one, I am from Phoenix. Okay, so this is my hometown. So when I moved back from California and Hawaii after being gone for 15 years, living in those two places, I chose to come back to Phoenix because this is my hometown. But also, when I thought about Texas, one thing that I know Texas has, it gets really cold there. Like, it snows in Dallas, okay? And it snows in parts of Texas. But it also, in the summertime, gets really muggy hot. And I don't like muggy heat. I prefer dry heat. So that's another thing that I prefer just environmentally, even though you can see these are pretty nice homes that are fairly affordable, right? So another place around Texas that we could look at is Austin. So here's a look at Austin homes. You've got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $69,000. Here's a real beauty right here. 3 beds, 6 baths. Wow. Do you need so many baths? I guess so. But look at that beauty. One thing that automatically stands out about Texas opposed to Arizona is it's greener. Texas is greener than Phoenix in particular. Obviously, there's more to Arizona than just Phoenix. There's Tucson. But Phoenix and Tucson are like sister cities, brother cities, whatever you want to call it. Both same kind of climate. If you consider Flagstaff, Texas does not have the snow and the mountains like we have out here. Texas is more flat. You could drive through Texas for it feels like for hours without seeing anything other than a field. That's just how Texas is. It's very flat farmland. And Arizona's got a lot more mountains, okay? But yeah, so look at these homes. I mean, the prices I think in Austin are pretty good price. And if we were to even look at the cost of living, let's just do cost of living Austin, Texas versus Tucson, Arizona. So you can see in this case, Tucson's more affordable than Austin, Texas. So Austin, Texas is more expensive than San Antonio. So even if you were to compare Austin and San Antonio, you're going to find out that San Antonio is much cheaper than Austin. Now, Austin is going to be a lot more green than San Antonio. So if you need green, lush, lakes, go to Austin. Don't go to San Antonio, really. But you could see housing costs and everything. Austin is just overall more expensive than Tucson, okay? Even more expensive than Phoenix, okay? Just in case you were wondering. And then we have Dallas versus Phoenix. Let's go ahead and dial that in. So what's more expensive, Dallas or Phoenix? Well, it turns out Phoenix is overall more expensive than Dallas for housing and just everything across the board. Median home cost in Dallas, $187,000 to $229,000 average median home cost in Phoenix. So, I mean, Dallas and Phoenix, you could really compare them. Both big cities, got 4 major sports teams. You know, the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Mavericks, the Dallas Stars, the Texas Rangers. So, big cities. There you go. And if we were to just talk about Houston, I mean, we could really talk about Houston. Houston, you can see that Phoenix is yet again more expensive than Houston. Now, Houston's going to get hit by hurricanes, whereas Phoenix isn't. So that's one of the things that Houston has a problem with is hurricanes, if you don't remember the flooding and all that. But Dallas, pretty safe from natural disasters. Houston or San Antonio and also Austin, safer from natural disasters than, say, Houston, right? Corpus Christi, Galveston. All right, so what are some other things that people want to know about Phoenix or Arizona and Texas, right? So why don't here's a question that comes up on Quora. You can read this. Why don't more people retire to Texas rather than Arizona and Florida? Like, how come people who are going to retire, they always want to go to either Florida or Arizona, the same two states that have the spring training for baseball? And so they're saying Texas has less humidity than Florida, especially the farther north and west you go. It also doesn't smell swampy and musty, probably because it doesn't have nearly as many swamps. So what are the drawbacks? And Texas doesn't have many insect and animal pests and many other environmental drawbacks that Florida has. The state is generally well above sea level, further concerned about sea levels rising. Well, remember, Houston, not so much. So what's the deal here? Why do people choose to live in Arizona? Well, some of it has to do with the dry air. A lot of elderly people in Arizona, if you talk to people, they say they moved here because they needed that drier air because their lungs and they had emphysema. As a matter of fact, my grandma, she actually had to move to Arizona. That's why they ended up moving here from, I want to say Chicago. They moved from Chicago to here way back before I was even born, and I'm 36. So, but that was because they needed the drier air for her breathing. So it's something to consider about that. Now, obviously, Florida has the muggy air, as they're saying, but Texas does have muggy air. Up here, before I go ahead and give my opinion about the two states, what I know and what I think, let's go ahead and take a look just at the one last point. So annual GDP, you can see 1.6 million compared to 326 million in air, or this is 1.6 billion, right? Compared to 326 million in Arizona for GDP. GDP per capita, even stronger still in Texas when you go to per capita, right? Unemployment rates, 4.8% in Arizona, 3.7% in Texas. So Texas has a lower unemployment rate. And, you know, conservatives are always going to say, yeah, that's because Texas is conservative and Republican. Arizona should learn to take a lesson, you know, that whole conversation. But realistically, I mean, we don't know why that is a higher higher unemployment in Arizona. Crude divorce rate, so people get divorced less in Arizona, so that's pretty good. Now, if you want to talk about population density, it's even though Texas is bigger, it's still got more population density than Arizona. So if you like more spread out and not so densely populated, Arizona is going to be your better alternative for that. So risk of poverty, about the same. Population, as we talked about earlier in the video, 7 million people in Arizona, 28 million in Texas. So Texas is a lot larger in population. And then, so if we just talk about my opinion about Texas versus Arizona, it comes down to weather and really just weather, because I think the people in Texas are friendly, but I just don't like that muggy weather. And I do like those prices, though, of San Antonio. San Antonio's not too muggy. It's not as muggy as Houston and Dallas. I wouldn't live in Dallas. I've been to Dallas. I just flying over on an airplane and just all that stuff. It's just I don't know. I've always said I could never really live in Dallas. I would not live in Dallas. Houston, maybe, just because it's closer to the ocean. Maybe Galveston or Corpus Christi, but I like Phoenix. That's why I moved back here. I think Phoenix is a little bit more. I just like that drier air, that drier climate, even though it's been raining today. So that's what it comes down to for me. I think they're both very comparable. Texas has everything Phoenix has. Maybe the tech industry is a little bit stronger in Phoenix, but then again, Austin's got South by Southwest, and the job climate in Texas is not too shabby. But at the end of the day, like I said, it comes down to the weather for me. That muggy weather, I don't like it. But I guess if you want, take a look at San Antonio, some of you. But if you're looking at San Antonio, you might as well look at Albuquerque and Santa Fe, New Mexico while you're at it. So anyways, if you're new here and you like these videos, subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment letting us know what you want us to talk about next. I've been getting your guys' comments. I'm going to try to answer some of them. I have been seeing a lot of you guys asking about natural disasters. I've made a video about this. Please search the channel for natural disasters in the search. and it talks about everything, because I had a couple questions recently coming in about wildfires and about the monsoon season, and I address all of that in the natural disasters video that happens in Arizona. For those of you who haven't seen that, maybe I'll put a link up here somewhere and see if that'll work out so you guys can watch it. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time.